Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44, and I want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. I didn't see the highlights of today's game in the bubble, but I did hear that Joel Embiid went down with an ankle. And this is very noteworthy because, of course, Ben Simmons went down with a knee. Now, it looks as if Philadelphia's injury woes have knocked them all but out of the playoffs at this point. Anybody that gets them in the first round is getting a free ride to the second round, basically, which is going to make things really interesting in the East. But I guess the question I want to pose to Oblivion is, have we seen the last of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons as teammates? And I don't have the cap situation or their contracts in terms of the years in front of me, so I really just don't know. Probably should have Googled that before pressing play, right? Or record, I should say, but I didn't. But what I will say is, whether or not we will see them, the question for me is, should we see them? Should we see them on the same team ever again? Should they ever play on the same floor as teammates and it not be an all-star game or an Olympics? And the answer is, I'd give it another year. I would. I'd give it another year. Here's why. I don't think that the combination of those two players necessarily fit together, but I don't think that they cannot fit together in a different system. My problem with Philadelphia, and if you follow me and you heard me speak of Philly before, then you've probably already heard this, but I don't particularly think Brett Brown is the right guy for the job. I haven't seen a whole lot out of Brett Brown that makes me say, that's the guy. The rotations that he had about 2 years ago in the playoffs when he had Bellinelli on the squad and all that, he was playing those guys but not playing Markelle Fultz. I thought that was a mistake at the time. The reason why I thought that was a mistake because I had seen Markelle Fultz play enough good basketball after the shoulder to know that he was able to run that second unit behind Ben Simmons pretty damn well. In other words, when Ben sits down from being point guard, you could have put Markelle in, and he was doing a lot of good things at that time for Philadelphia. And I thought it was very stupid for Brett Brown to go with the rotations that he did. And some of his back of the bench players were getting a lot of minutes in the playoffs when they hadn't been during the regular season, and he was just running with them, and they didn't do anything for him, and just the schemes that he was running with, pretty trash, pretty trash, to be honest with you. I haven't been a fan ever since. I know he was a part of the last year of the tank squad, so they wanted to give him an opportunity to have a good squad. He's had, 3 years with a good squad, so to speak. They got all this talent, so he was going to get an opportunity to see if he can get them through the East this year. Unfortunately, that opportunity doesn't look like it's going to come to pass. And I think they should probably part ways with him. I've been thinking they should have parted ways with him years ago, honestly. I don't think he should have been the guy to take them into the era that they're in. With all of the size that they have, and I said this a couple times too, I played against them several years playing 2K, with my little My Player or whatever. I've had my Laker team and a point guard as my guy, and I've seen the Philadelphia 76ers in the finals like maybe 3 or 4 times. They're always there, and I've lost 2 of them. I can tell you that the Lakers particularly don't really match up well with Philadelphia on paper because they have defenders in every position and they have size at every position. So that's why I think they should run it back. Run it back again next year. The injuries that these two guys have gotten, this ankle, if he wasn't in the bubble, he'd be fine. But since he's in the bubble, he has to go out, let it heal, 10-day quarantine. It's probably not going to return. Ben Simmons is definitely having surgery, so he's not going to return. But I don't think either one of these injuries are something that we need to be worried about for those guys for the beginning of next season. I don't think so. Maybe Ben might miss a little bit of the beginning of next season, but I don't expect Joel Embiid to have ankle issues that are going to carry him into the next season. So, yeah, give it another shot. They have a couple guys like Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris. Who else? There's a few other guys that come to mind. Obviously, Al Horford's still on the squad, even though I don't like his fit on that team, and I don't like that contract either. Who else? There's somebody else that I'm not thinking. Matisse Thybulle, who I think is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league already. I think if this is not his rookie year, it's his second year. But I think this was the year he was drafted. I think this is his rookie year. maybe not. But either way, this dude is going to be a tyrant. He reminds me of Shane Battier, and he's going to be really, really good, man. He's going to be somebody that you have to account for defensively. No matter what team he's on, he'll fit in just fine. He's going to do what he does. He's not much of a scorer, but he's been able to hit shots here and there, so you have a faith that he can become a competent set shooter or something of that nature, get to the line, that kind of thing. But his defense, that boy is gifted. He was put on this earth to defend. He reminds me of early Ron Artest, early Shane Battier. He's just a monster defensively, and he's somebody that I think makes Philly extremely, extremely difficult to beat, because you can slot him in at pretty much any position on the floor defensively. He can guard everyone. And that's the thing. I think he's one of the best kept secrets, defensive secrets in the league, because really he's just stuck in a Philly team that's just so loaded, full of size and full of defenders. He's just another guy. But you put him on the white squad, especially a team that doesn't have any defensive talent, and he's going to shine, super shine. I'm a big Matisse Thybulle fan on the defensive end. So he's one of the reasons why I would run it back, because they're damn near impossible if he's playing his best basketball. And they have other guys too on that bench that I like. They made some moves getting the guys out of Golden State. Alec Burks added some shooting to their team. I like him for them. The other guy that they got, I believe, was Glenn Robinson III, who was starting to show signs of life as he was, right before he got traded. And I think he's been a good fit for Philly as well. So they have some depth. I would like for them to get a little more on their bench on the offseason, and I would like them to get rid of their coach and replace him with somebody like, to be honest with you, Mark Jackson is always going to come up, but I really don't know if he's the right fit for that roster. I would prefer him to have a little more shooting on his roster. But then again, when you're talking about passing, who's better at, teaching a playmaking system and helping Ben Simmons along? I think Ben Simmons and Mark Jackson would really, 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 really vibe just off of sheer basketball passing IQ alone. So that could be an interesting fit, but that's what Philly needs to do. You don't have to get rid of your superstars. You don't have to rush your way out of those contracts, because to be completely honest with you, even though those two guys don't fit necessarily, they're so valuable in the league that there's no way to get back equal value for them. That's what it really comes down to for me. And you own their bird rights. You don't really want to give up bird rights on two potential Hall of Fame players. They're both, in my mind, guys that if they have 15-year careers, could make the Hall of Fame. Ben Simmons' talent level is crazy, and I don't think that he's had a chance to show us how crazy his talent level is. You know what type of team he needs to be on, though, in my opinion? He needs to be on the type of team like what Orlando had when Dwight Howard was running around. That's what Ben Simmons needs. He needs a bunch of shooters that he can set up and just, make look great. That's what his purpose is on the basketball floor, in my opinion. Even though he's a fantastic defender, fantastic rebounder, supreme athletic ability, his best attribute is playmaking and orchestrating a basketball floor. He's one of the best in the generation, if not the best in the generation at that. His shooting woes are more psychological than they are mechanical, and that's why I just think he needs to work that out. That's a psychological demon for him, and if he is okay with shooting, I think he'll surprise himself and make more than he anticipates, because his mechanics are fine. He doesn't have a problem shooting jumpers as it pertains to just how they look when they release, and he makes them. So it's just a fear. I know it when I see it. It's a fear, and he's got to work on it, and in due time, I believe he will find the confidence to be okay with low shooting percentages. That's what it comes down to. I've thought these words, and I've never said them aloud, but I think Ben Simmons needs to absorb the truth that sometimes you're just going to miss. The best shooters who have ever shot the basketball have missed at times. And you're not going to make any shots you don't take. So a guy like Ben Simmons, although shooting the ball doesn't really come naturally to him in terms of the way he sees the game, it's definitely going to be helpful for him if he develops that shot and takes it at a consistent clip. And pick your spots, dude. You don't have to shoot three like crazy. Shoot the three like a guy like JaVale McGee will take threes. You know, JaVale McGee, if he's back there and he's alone, he'll take it. And, you know, he either makes them or he doesn't. But you don't look to him to shoot threes, but he ain't going to shy away from it if he does. And that's the kind of mentality I'm looking for. I'm not asking him to be Klay Thompson out there. I'm not even asking him to be Chris Webber to a degree when it comes to shooting. I just want him to be not shy about taking it when it's wide open, and not shy about taking it when the clock is running out, and not shy about taking it when it feels right to just put the shot up. And so once he figures all that out, I don't see any other weaknesses, to be completely honest with you. I don't see any other weaknesses in his game. And that's what makes him so scary, and that's why I wonder if he has like a perfectionist type of issue with shooting percentages, because he doesn't really have any other weaknesses. So if he considers that to be a major weakness and he thinks his way out of taking them because he just assumes he's not going to make them, then you could see how a complex of some sort could be developed, a psychological. When it's like, damn it, that's the only thing I can't do. If I don't do that, I'm perfect. But what you don't have is enough shooting around you to make the floor spacious enough for you to do what it is that you do best. And with your second best player being in the paint half of the time and being on the three-point line half of the time himself, shooting probably more threes than I want him to shoot in Joel Embiid, you have a funny fit with a bunch of really not so consistent shooters to make up the rest of your basketball team. So for Ben Simmons, as we all know, it's just necessary for him to shoot just because of that. But if he were in a different situation, let's say he played on Golden State, you replace Draymond with Ben Simmons, suddenly Golden State Warriors are back in the championship conversation, in my opinion. Because, you know, what Draymond does for Golden State, Ben Simmons can do for a team full of shooters. That's basically what I'm trying to say. He can do that exact same thing. He can defend, he can rebound, he can pass the rock at an amazing clip. He is pretty much, and I'm saying this with a lot of respect for Draymond, he's just a better version of Draymond at this point. He really is. Ben Simmons is a better Draymond. I don't know if he is. I don't know, and I'm not saying he is or not. I do not know if he's a better defender than Draymond, but I know he's going to score more than Draymond, and I know that he's going to probably be much more athletic, and that's going to help him in some areas as well. So, yeah, man, Ben Simmons, I don't think that's not about comparing those two players. To me, Ben Simmons is definitely the greater player, but I'd like to see Ben Simmons in a fit that like Draymond has for himself. That's all I'm trying to say. So Philadelphia can do that. They can do that. But the problem is Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid eat up all the caps. So if you're going to get quality star level shooters, you're going to have to find creative ways of acquiring them and so on and so forth. So no, I don't give up on Philly this coming year, but if they still have some of the same issues next year, then we're talking about splitting up the team, I guess. I don't want to lose sight of my initial point, which was that you have their bird rights and they are Hall of Fame caliber youngsters. Giving up on them does not bring you back equal value, and I will not let that be lost in this conversation about improving the Philadelphia 76ers. If you are giving up those guys, you will not take back equal value. So anyway, that's it. That's what I got, man. My name is BDF44. Thanks for watching. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. And it's really nice in Los Angeles. So looking forward to more basketball. Get well soon, Philly players. I'm out.